campaign. On the show tonight, let me start from the frontliner, Ofono Opondo. I always struggled with Ofono Opondo Podel. I think now you try to get it better.
Yeah, that's an improvement.
That's an improvement.
But it's Ofono Opondo Podel.
Okay. The last time we sat here together, he wasn't honorable, but he was vying, and now he's a member of parliament representing the elderly of Eastern Uganda. Very nice to have you, sir.
Thank you, Charles. I keep you in my heart. I hope 2031 you'll still be kicking and you join me, hopefully.
Thank you. I have a political philosopher, former member of parliament, and advocate of the courts of judicature, frontliner, Odonga Otto. Very nice to have you.
I'm delighted to be here. I'm glad to be with my friend Opondo. Yeah.
The Honorable Minister for ICT and National Guidance, the Honorable Justine Kasule Lumumba. Very nice to have you on the front line.
Thank you.
And all the way from Industrial Division of Umbale City, the Honorable Masaba. Very nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much, Charles, and good evening to all the viewers there. I'm glad to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to start with you, Honorable Masaba, and ask the question. I mean, we've been watching what you're doing in Parliament, what Parliament is doing, their accountability committees. We saw the unearthing of issues around that interchange at Busega roundabout, the changes, and then we moved to the tolling on the road toll, the Kampala-Entebbe Express highway, and the tolling, and they said money was being collected and put in bags and then counted later. Previously, before that, we'd heard about how our road, I am particularly interested in that because we have lost so many people, including a close relative who died last Friday. On that, 2 people died on that road, a driver and Kenneth Kaijuka, and they had children in the car, and we have been told that road was being eaten all along. We also continue to see Honorable Balam Barugahara and Honorable Justine Namere on their crusades with local government officials. The interdictions at Uganda Registration Services Bureau, the internal fights that came to Parliament from the Uganda Human Rights Commission that also talk about corruption, and whatever is going on. From where you sit, what does this speak to you? What does it say to you?
Thank you once again, Charles, and you've tried to break down all, I would call them scandals that have been taking place over the last few months. And I'm glad that some of them have been unearthed by Parliament, where I do sit. And as a member of the Public Accounts Committee, that is PAC Central Government, I am happy with whatever is going on, though at times the public out there criticizes us that we're not doing enough as Parliament. But I think what we are doing, we are opening eyes of everyone, the executive, all the Ugandans out there. Today we were supposed actually to have a report from one of our committees, chaired by Honorable Mwine Mpaka, on that toll road, but unfortunately we didn't have that discussion. So I thought it would be all over news today, and the Ugandans out there will have seen what has been going on over time. But I hope on Tuesday we will have that discussion, and we will get an opportunity to discuss and expose more of what is happening currently in Uganda. When you look at whatever is happening, I believe this is not something new. All these have been happening over a period of time. But I'm glad that the executive has this time stepped up. They have stepped their foot on the gas to help us, to help the Ugandans fight issues of corruption. And I'm delighted my Senga is next year. And as the president stated that Chisanja no sleep, I'm very happy that her team has started moving out there, because over the years, we've been having ministers who've been just sitting in air conditioning, sitting in their offices, driving to Parliament, going to their offices, to State House. But it is good that many of them have now put their foot on the ground. I've seen my brother, the Minister of Works, is out there moving. I've seen the Minister of Investment she has started moving out there. We've seen the Ministers of Local Government moving the various parts of the country. I think this is good for us as a country, I hope it's not just politics at play, because that is one of the challenges we've been having over the 11th Parliament. We've had investigations that have ended almost nowhere. I happen to have been part of the committee, the ad hoc committee that investigated matters into NSSF, that investigated matters into Bujagali Energy Limited, and matters that concerned Posta Uganda.
So what's new from where you sit? That's what I was asking. You were there before, you are there now. What's new, what's different?
Yes, initially what used to happen, when you look at, for example, the matters concerning Bujagali, we did move, we interacted with various stakeholders. We saw that the agreements were poor. As a country, we were losing a lot of money over projects. We had lost a lot of money over that dam. And we had interactions with the Attorney General, and he did appreciate our position as a committee and said, yes, it's true, but I didn't take part in the decisions of making this contract. And according to the clauses that were put, it is very hard to renegotiate some of these agreements. And the matter was forwarded to the head of state, who had a look at our report. He had an interaction with the Honorable Katesh Fumbwa, who was the chairman then. And what the president stated was, at that time, we were in a crisis as a country. We had shortage of electricity, and we needed to solve that problem as soon as possible. So I assigned people to do that work, but many of the people I did assign were not patriotic. Some of these jobs, some of these contracts, some of these things need to be done by Ugandans who are patriotic, who love their country, who love the work they are doing for a country. So whatever we are seeing now is part of the many things that have been happening, that the Auditor General has missed, that the Office of the IGG has not seen because of course, various reasons.
What value is that to the Ugandan? Because you do a post-mortem, and when you're doing a post-mortem, the person is already dead. You can't bring them back.
Yes.
The idea behind doing post-mortems is that you're able to prevent future similar death. But your work as Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, Central, the work of the Local Government Accounts Committee, the work of COSASE, the work of... how much does it deliver?
Yes, I think it's time for us to have a discussion as Parliament to see how we can amend or we can change some of these laws, because as Parliament we are governed by the Constitution and the rules of procedure and other laws in the country. And when you look at the Audit Act, the one that governs most of these audits, there is an audit year which ends at the end of the normal calendar year. That is, for example, we are looking at audit years. The reports for the audit year ended of December 2025. Those are the audit years that we're dealing with currently. And that limits our scope to the previous financial year, meaning we are looking at projects of 2024. So this is something I think I've had an interaction with some of my colleagues. We see how best we can change some of the rules of procedure of Parliament, how we can adjust some of these laws, because as accountability committees, we only get to look at these projects after they are done. We get to have these interactions with the various accounting officers, with the various ministers, after the Auditor General has submitted these reports to us as Parliament, and because they give the Auditor General about 6 months to process and submit them to Parliament, then we are also given 6 months to process these reports. So currently in the country, I think that is the biggest challenge we have, that we are being more reactive to what has already happened, to money that has already been spent, and I believe we need to be more proactive, as is happening currently. And I do like the approach the honorable ministers are taking currently, because they are moving out there, they are seeing these projects as they're happening. When you look at, for example, I usually use the Northern Bypass, but when you look at the contractor, they had decided to intentionally slow on that project. You would find that the contractor would maybe take another 3, 4, 5 months to complete a section of less than 500 meters. But because the ministers stood up and went there and saw these faults, the contractor was put on pressure to complete this project. I've seen the minister on the project in Mubende, I think. The contractor has also been put on the hook. So I think we need to see how best we can change our rules the rules of procedure that govern Parliament, and these accountability committees now can begin moving without waiting for the audit report of the previous
I'll come back to
committee
the
that have been
accountability
submitted
committees
by
and the
the
role of the opposition, which is supposed to be which leads those accountability committees. Honorable Kasule Lumumba, let me come to you. I need your general comment on the current phase of the fight against corruption in government. Are you responding to genuine pressure? Is government politically posturing?
The president of Uganda is called His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He campaigned and he led the party called NRM that carried the manifesto to the people, and the Ugandans chose and voted him and voted NRM. And they have also voted the Honorable Ofono Opondo based on the same manifesto. We seated here with us. But during campaigns, he was listening to people. He was in different places and he was listening to people. And that prompted him that even during campaigns, he would get his pen as a president and send some ministers to certain areas to go and look at the issues that had been raised by the people in those particular places, which could not wait for the person to come to office the following term. So remember during the swearing-in ceremony on the 12th of November, 12th of May this year, his sentences were to all elected leaders and to all those who was going to appoint, either as political leaders or as technical people. He said, this is a term of no sleep. People must work. And even when we were taking oath as ministers, in his speech, he said, I'll be brief, but the issue is term no sleep. You have to work in your ministry where you are, but also in the community where you come from. You must go and supervise and see how government service delivery is happening or is being done in that place. He did that and we all listened. The second sentence was term no corruption. And corruption, whether you are at your place of work, whether you are in the road, whether you are. So when he was talking to us the day we took oath as ministers, he said, whoever will not do his work or her work, I will sack you. Those were his words. I'd never heard him use those words before, since I joined politics in 2001. And if you observe, actually it's just a beginning. Everybody, a minister, a member of parliament, a leader of the district, a leader of the sub-county, we all have the responsibility. The commander has commanded, the political commander has commanded, and nobody can dodge. By the way, I'm saying this is just the beginning, because you are seeing what my colleagues are doing in the Ministry of Local Government, and my colleagues are doing in the Ministry of Works. You are yet to see more, because even those who have not yet started, or those who are doing it and are not exposing it to the public and are still doing it within their ministries or within their communities, this has to be exposed to the public. It has to be exposed to the public because you must show how you are fighting corruption in your community, how you are fighting corruption in your sector. And that's why today we had a discussion, we had a meeting about evaluating the parish development model PDM under the chair of the Prime Minister. Even security had to tell us what is happening where. As the ministers say this, what is intelligence? And it's happening. What I also want you to know that most of the work which ministers are doing, they're also getting intelligence from the different institutions. You know, we have ISO, which has structures up to the parish level. We have other intelligence organizations that you know. In addition to that, Office of the Prime Minister is in charge of coordination of government policies, but also monitoring and evaluation. So they always have reports about monitoring and evaluation, about and even evaluation or performance evaluation is also done every year. And the districts, performance of districts are also displayed. And also this year, last year, we also now evaluated the performance of the different programs, the 18 programs, in the development plan form. So, those, let me single out. In the evaluation, it came out, because I was the Minister General Duties Office of the Prime Minister, and that was falling under me. We had the government had projects which had been set up or built, handed over to Ministry of Local Governments, to the districts under local governments, but some of them are white elephants there. Meaning we had gaps in coordination at that point. So whether the Prime Minister, whether we cabinet ministers or ministers of state or local governments, we all have also to improve on issues of coordination. So when you are looking at what is happening, it is not only issues to do with the resources. People also must account for the time in their offices. Because when we were in the induction course or retreat in Chankwanzi, we also came up with a proposal of how ministers should also be evaluated in terms of time and in terms of resources. Because we have also been having a bit of some little comfort in the office, and we don't account in terms of time. So the 100 days, everybody must account. And I want to also inform you that it's my responsibility as a minister in charge of national guidance with my colleagues in the ministry to also give guidance to these ministers how they should go to fight corruption. Because some of them are new, some of them may not know. And also being a minister of ICT, we also have to work with them and also help them to be able to use ICT to fight corruption, but also expose corruption, but also put systems in place that will help us to fight corruption in the future.
I hear you, Honorable Minister. My question is, what is new? What is different? How will you sustain this current campaign?
One, how will we sustain? You have seen that the method is changing. And the way people are looking at, the way you see the ministers of local government doing their work, how would we sustain? If tomorrow you are the minister of local government, this one has already set the bar so high. So how do we sustain? You must make sure you do the work and fit in the shoes of those who were there before and even improve and go beyond what they did. Now, when it comes to us as Minister of ICT, how will we sustain? We have to keep updating the infrastructure, updating the systems, especially the IT systems, to help them be able to detect and be able to serve people much faster than ever before. So how would we sustain? Technology also is improving. We are now talking about AI. If the other one was about a system where you can only press on a dashboard without a voice, now it has brought in a voice. AI now let me give you an example. If we go into monitoring agriculture and we are using AI, it would mean that when you get to the garden, you can even just take a picture using the app, and it will tell you the challenge with that crop or the challenge with the animal. And it will also show you where the solution is. So technology is also going to help us to sustain.
But Honorable Minister, if you saw the debate in Parliament about the Northern Bypass and the scandal around its tolling, the toll system, the technology was available. Even then, it wasn't applied. And money was lost. And we can't exactly account how much was lost as of now.
And that's why the people responsible have been brought to the space where accountability must be provided. Because I think it must have been deliberate. Because when you look at how the same Ministry of Works is having a very good system where people, illiterate and illiterate people are applying for driving permits, and no person-to-person contact, paperless, and the only paper involved is getting the driving permit. Somebody applies online and is able to get the what? The driving permit without that personal contact. Cannot even complain of corruption. And when you are listening to, for us who go to associate with the, what we would call omuntu wa wansi, what we would call erimu kirasha, when we get there, they tell you, things here as easy as getting a driving permit is seamless. But the same ministry deliberately does that. So there must be somebody to be held accountable for that. Because why should they be the same ministry who are giving us driving permits?
They call it selective efficiency.
Yeah, so the person who has
efficient.
who has decided to do it selectively should be held accountable and should be brought to book.
Honorable Odonga.
And that's why we are saying Chisanja, no corruption. Honorable
Odonga, which stories haven't we had before? Which stories are we seeing today? And I want you to also speak to, is the ruling party and the government in power stealing the shine of the opposition that leads accountability committees in parliament?
You see, even if you talk of stories, there was a man, he was called Opera. He had applied, the school management committee had advertised for a job of a watchman. So he was lucky. By that time, he had come to Kampala. He was in Group 4, Sarachen. He had certificates. So he had more advantage than the local fellas in the community who were coming with Lugabire. But the school management committee was tipped that that man is a night dancer. And yet they need a watchman for the night service. So the management committee decided that they are not going to give the man the job, and they gave apparently a less able person. So the man stormed in the house and said, you people are more qualified, I've been to Kampala, I did a training with Group 4, I have certificates. Why have you not given me the job? How can you give the job to this man who has not even crossed Karumba? And one of the board members diplomatically replied and said, Opera, we need someone who stays there at night. We need someone who stays at night. They felt sort of telling him that at night you will not be guarding, you'll be dancing around. I think Ofono, you understand this thing of night dancing very well. Yeah. So,
yes, in our community.
Yeah. So, what Balaam is doing, Balaam has defied the odds. He's telling the applicant that you are a night dancer. We are not going to give you the job of a night watchman. Balaam has defied the odds. He's telling the thieves that we are going to arrest you. I saw a picture of Balaam. I don't know whether it is IA. He's carrying over 200 handcuffs. AI.
Before AI, there was Photoshop.
Yeah. So, but what bothers me as a critical thinker is why is President Museveni resurrecting now, after 40 years, that they're fighting corruption? Why now? Because most of the corrupt have stolen and they are now rich. They now have houses in Kololo. For us, we stay in Nigeria where there is load shedding. For them, they're in Tinda, Naguru, Bogolobi. Some of us stay in Namasuba. So people have been stealing since 1987. So you have stolen, you are now tired. Then all of a sudden, some few people are trying to pick up their lives and put one Mabate house, the first one in the village. They are the ones being rounded up. That is the general feeling in the community. I was in a bar in Lira over the weekend and I heard them speaking that I think the way these people have been stealing in local government, it was too much. They should have got a better way of stealing. So it looks like down there, much as Balaam is doing a good thing, there seems to be a class struggle. There seems to be a class struggle where some people also feel they should also protect the government money. Now, this brings me to two issues. One, Parliament of Uganda has failed Ugandans. I don't mean this current parliament. Because...
You mean the one you sat in?
No, the previous and maybe in the last 10 years. Because why should it be that it is President Museveni to identify where corruption is? Like the one of Uganda Registration of Services Bureau. It took a missive from President Museveni to start directing the IGG and Minister of Mao, Minister Norbert Mao, that there is a scandal in your docket. So what are ministers doing? So it takes an 82-year-old man to say there is a corruption in this particular area. I know the president is privy to so many intelligence services. They have ISO, they have terrorism, they have counterterrorism. Even when we were in parliament, I was casual and reckless, expressing my opinion. I thought Opondo was a journalist covering me. I would speak my heart out. Little did I know that it was also intelligence. We also have intelligence in the media.
You found intelligence briefs authored by him against you, or about you?
He was an operative. He was not even a journalist. I don't even know why I was speaking my mind out on how Uganda should be organized. So, something has to be done. And then, I'm glad all these are MPs. Last week, I was invited for a capacity building workshop of a Committee of Government Assurance. I was glad they invited me. I presented a paper there. But they were asking me two questions, which Ugandans should answer, and you should pick interest in this. One, that as the financial year ends, many local governments don't want to return money to the central government. So they end up spending in haste, in a hurry, so that, because when the money goes back to to the central government, they don't get it back. So they end up giving a certificate of completion for a road, knowing the road is not completed, but because they don't want money to go back to the center. Honorable Minister of National Guidance, this is an area which needs serious national guidance. Secondly, and very sickening, parliamentary committees and their reports, they expire every 5 years. Unless it is saved. So whatever this parliament does...
transition to the next parliament.
Yes, it does not transition. So if a thief can delay in court for 4, 5 years, 6 years, the next parliament comes, the business, it starts afresh. So something should be done, Honorable Minister of National Guidance, because we use taxpayers' money to investigate Temangalo, the No Valley dams. There are so many scandals which are as old as this government, but those who have stolen money are home and dry. So can the Minister of National Government Guidance, and specifically the President, it should pronounce himself on these two issues. These issues of business of parliament expiring every 5 years, and then these issues of local government spending money in a hurry so that money does not go back to the center. And I think what Balaam is doing, Balaam is just making money for police detectives. He's just making money for the state attorneys, DPPs. They are now...
Police was appearing before Park today. You did see them?
You know what I'm saying? Balaam is now like, you know, when you go hunting, there are people who hold the net. There are others who should be shouting to direct the animal where the net is. So that when the animal comes, it just enters the net and they hit it with a hammer. So Balaam is now like a scarecrow. He's making business for the police. So the moment Balaam leaves the districts, they start saying, how much do you have?
The benefit of corruption is supposed to be shared by everybody. Just
actually,
like the animal you're talking about.
Yeah.
Once it's been captured, once it's been netted, everybody is supposed to share who participated in the hunt.
You see, for Balaam to succeed...
So Balaam, what Balaam is doing is supposed to benefit everybody who is interested in the fight against corruption.
Yeah, it is true, but now the resident state attorneys, the DPP's office, some judicial officers are very happy because Balaam is now scaring the animal into the net. So what I think, and this I would challenge the government, and yeah, of course, lawyers. I challenge government. We need a public place of trial for all those corrupt officials, not these ordinary courts. If they can move all of them to Nambole Stadium and they're resident there for all the period of trial, anyone Balaam is smoking out, they should be brought to a highly specialized court, expedited the way they tried Okello, who killed the young children, in a tent. So we need that fast response from other arms of government. Otherwise, I think Balaam even is losing steam.
Honorable Opondo,
I challenge government.
People have talked about, the minister here was talking about the Balaam way, the Balaam's approach. Many people have been talking about, there are many cartoons, there are memes, there are so many things about the Balaam approach. But some people are also questioning, saying, wait a minute, you have the laws of this country. You're demoralizing public service, the interest in serving government, because of humiliation. Yeah. The way you're humiliating these people, you haven't processed them, you are not certain that they're actually guilty, but you're judging them guilty in the field. Is this sustainable? Is this healthy for long-term service delivery?
You are quoting the Minister of National Guidance. I wouldn't want to water down what she has said. But I think in a way it is conceding that there is a systemic failure. I have said this many times. I've written, actually, about a month ago, and I said the NRM have had 40 years of revamping the system, and we came on the pedestal of the rule of law. Therefore, to resort to unlawful, high-handed, it doesn't add up, in my view. I also wrote and I said, where things are, we need some form of shock therapy, maybe. Mr. Mwenda Andrew said in a different way. He said, where Uganda is, you can't solve the issues by conventional means, political correctness. I just want to remind those who may not know, way back in 1988-89, we imported, the government of Uganda imported rail wagons. I think that time from Spain or Zimbabwe, somewhere there. Go and check the debate on a committee investigating Bank Paribas. That's actually what brought now the Right Honorable Kadaga and Tinyefuza, as was then known, Sejusa, because they were members of that committee. As early as that time, they unearthed where officials from Uganda Railway Corporation imported rail wagons. Following that, I think we had just enacted the IGG statute, 1988 or thereabout. In that statute of the IGG and other subsequent amendments to the law, we said that people are arrested for corruption and other capital offenses would keep in jail for 180 days, I think.
That is 6 months.
Without getting bail. When we made the Constitution and we brought this Bill of Rights, the clever people, the clever lawyers who were there in the 6th Parliament, I remember Honorable Ben Wacha, Wandera Ogalo, El Karahanga, and many others. They said, no. Keeping people in jail without automatic right to bail offends the Constitution. And consequently, we amended. These things the Balaams are doing now. And so from where I have been, I see systemic failure, system failure. Politically, we have allowed bad people as NRM to worm their way into the political system. And so they have been covering up for others. This parliament, I'm not talking about the 12th parliament, made a law, for example, how recruitment for public officers are done, how money, when we brought this budget act, part of the reason here was to fight before the postmortem. The Auditor General, we have internal auditors in ministries and departments. So those are not that's not postmortem. They're actually supposed to stop to detect before. So this parliamentary committee, initially we only had the PAC. I remember in 89-90, we were dealing with audit reports of 1981, 1982, 5 years behind. The reforms that have taken place, giving more money, giving qualified people jobs, and so on and so forth, was meant that you have people who are able to detect. Take our parliament. When has there been a public debate on the floor on the Auditor General's report?
On parliament.
On parliament. These issues we are dealing with now, of Right Honorable Tamong, of the Obores, have you seen any audit report on parliament? Have you? So, there are people who have warmed their way. Each time we have gone for elections, you can go and check this. You will find chief administrative officers who were on interdiction, finance officers who were on the interdiction, commissioners, assistant commissioners, ministers who are on the interdiction. They run, come and pick my sister's card, the former secretary general of NRM. They pick cards as members of NRM. They win election.
And they come to parliament?
On NRM ticket, yes. You can go and check the parliament.
Actually, there was one who was a cow. He became an MP. So we were checking an audit report of that local government, and the report was saying he removed the engine of a local government car, and now he was an MP.
Sitting on the committee that's
some even rise as far as being ministers. Why? Because they have warmed their way into the system. And because of the despair we were in 1986-90, you remember the president would say, go slow. You remember the question of the lifestyle audit? He said, you better come here. Go slow. I think...
He had said earlier that at least our thieves are not investing their money in Europe and elsewhere.
Many of these people took this literally. Now you are saying, why now? I have not had a direct discussion with the president, why now, but from what I read, I think the many cycles of elections, particularly the last 2 or last 3, he has gone through things. I have accompanied him to campaigns. He has gone through what I would consider the tough choice, the tough time, because the buck must stop with him. And he's finding that he's answering for things that he shouldn't be answering for. Because why should it be the president to find that the people, PDM beneficiaries, were cheated 400,000? He is the one who built the RDC system, where RDC is. You have seen how RDCs are being appointed. Every minister who comes appoints their friends, their tribesmates. So the system of RDCs...
You mean every minister for the presidency?
Yes.
Who's supposed to appoint RDCs?
Yes. Look at what is going on. Why should it be but I'm finding out a school latrine which has no pit? Where is the RDC? And you remember the one in Bulambuli? And RDC actually commissioned it.
Let's take a break and pick this conversation.
So,
let's pick up this conversation in a moment.
NBS Frontline.
Can I have a light, please? What is this?
Kasule light, the best testing light.
Try it.
Try it, try it, try it. Da, 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 da.
Guys, look at this post.
Nothing hits like extra cold. Kasule Light. Try it.
Uganda is moving forward, and at the heart of that movement is the most extensive fiber network in East Africa, with more than 15,000 kilometers of fiber and over 5,000 telecom mast sites. Soliton Telmec is the backbone that enables Uganda's telecom and digital infrastructure, connecting government services, businesses, homes, universities, hospitals, banks, villages, and telecom masts. We don't just build networks, we maintain and commercialize critical infrastructure that supports national development. East Africa's leading fiber company, connecting Uganda with the most capacity. Soliton Telmec, building networks for life.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments.
August 2026 at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds for the Cancer Run 2026. Starting at 6 a.m. Also taking place simultaneously in other districts across Uganda for the completion of the One-Stop Cancer Center at Nsambya Hospital. Registration is only 30,000 Ugandan shillings online using Gonza Pay. Gates are available at all Centenary Bank branches, Capital Shoppers outlets, Bread House branches, the Cancer Run office on Zimwa Road, Muyenga, the Rotary Uganda office at Nick Building, and Rotary clubs across the country. The Rotary Cancer Run 2026 is organized in partnership with the Parliament of Uganda, Centenary Bank, Crystal Water, and
NBS Sport, championing Ugandan sport.
Mami!
Wanje sabo
ukamotia oina kachi ha kagulinzi teka kagulinzi I want everything yes so when I pay the time this will increase my loan limit. Hey mutieni momo madam, remove the food, put more meat, add the meat. Yes. Hey. Now these are the fruits of paying your loan is in time.
That's right. Every time you repay your Momo loan on time, your loan limit can increase, giving you access to more money when you need it most. Dial star 165*5# to borrow, pay back, and grow your limit with Momo loans.
You have juice?
Yes.
Juice in me.
The National Mosquito Net Distribution Campaign is back. No one should die of malaria in this era. It is your responsibility to chase malaria from your home. The good news is that the government of Uganda has once again started distribution of mosquito nets under the 5th Universal Coverage Campaign, also known as the Under the Net campaign. Under this exercise, 1 mosquito net will be distributed per 2 people in every household. A village health team member, a community health extension worker, also known as a CHU, and the LC1 chairperson will move house to house to register members of the household in preparation for receiving their mosquito nets. Do not lie back. Ensure that you register all your household members to receive a mosquito net. On the distribution date, move to your distribution point and receive your net. Mosquito nets protect you and your family members from infectious mosquito bites that lead to malaria. Ensure that you receive the net, hang the net, and sleep under the net every night.
Frontline.
You're still watching the Frontline on NBS TV, and we're looking at the current phase of the fight against corruption. How far can it go? Honorable Minister, let me come back to you. Ofono Opondo describes this as systemic failure. How do you heal a systemic problem? By what we are seeing. And I want to take you back a little. The last term of this government, of the NRM government, because it was still in charge over the last 5 years. During the swearing in, President Yoweri Museveni used the exact same words to say, this is Kisanja, no corruption.
No, this time is amended. No more corruption.
No more corruption.
No more sleep.
I'm glad you use amendment.
Yes.
Yes,
no,
amended.
No more.
So,
and just there, why I'm saying shock terrible, probably the one of Baram can succeed in scaring. Let us just remember, in the last term, Prime Minister Right Honorable Nabanja went on this same drive. You remember? With the roads in Kampala. Where's that steam?
Honorable Minister, do you want to pick it up from there? Where is that steam? How can it be sustained?
I like the example he has given, that Right Honorable Nabanja, as Prime Minister, went on the roads in Kampala. And when she discovered that there was a consultant who had been given the responsibility to make the designs of the road, and had finished, but had kept it for beyond the time was supposed to have had, actually 6 months beyond the time he was supposed to have handed in the road designs, because the more he would stay with it, the more he would be paid. When Right Honorable Romina Nabanja discovered this, she hit the table, let me use the word, and work started in Kampala. Before going there, work had stagnated and the work had not started in some roads. But when she went and discovered the problem was the consultant, and who is an Indian, and she was able to discover that. The issue now is, where were the people who are in charge? Because there are people who are in charge. So what is happening now is like I said before, that comfort of people sitting in office, not doing things against time, not being accountable to the public, to the appointing authority, to the people who elected us in terms of time. That is now, which is new to what has been happening. That's one. Then two, what has been happening before was would get the Auditor General's report, and then the accountability committees that are chaired by the opposition would now bring this to light. And would always say, they've now exposed this. We as NRM, how do we manage this? Because this is bad publicity. Things have changed. It is now NRM itself saying, no, we can no longer tolerate this. We can no longer go on with this. And headed by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, by saying, I want to see all of you fight corruption. I want to see all of you pay a lot of attention to service delivery. Everybody must get out of what? Of poverty. So what will sustain this? Once you see people coming out of poverty, that is a motivation itself to you, but also to the
will people come out of poverty? How will people come out of poverty when the flagship program of the last term of parliament, of last term of government, was the parish development model? And the president goes on a campaign trail and discovers that that money, 1 million shillings, is being taxed. People are receiving 700,000, they are receiving 600,000, they are receiving 800,000. Money which they are supposed to pay back so that it gets into a revolving fund. How will that be? How is that possible?
But that was discovered by the president himself. First of all, the first thing he's discovered was that there were bank charges. And he said, let's have change, make some amendments in the guidelines. The government should pay those bank charges. 2, the people who had been, those who were extorting money from the beneficiaries, 200,000, 100,000, 300,000. We remember when he had a baraza in Gulu, and the people brought this up, and he sent a team to investigate, and people were arrested and some were taken to court. It was discovered during the monitoring and evaluation, either by him or different people in government, that you find one person has registered, has so many SIM cards registered in people's names using the NINI numbers of the people in the same community and received the money. These people have been arrested. Then all of these, whenever they would find out there is a challenge, and the guidelines have kept changing to make sure we improve. And that's why you see there is the negative to it, the corruption, but on the bigger part, there is success. One, there has been a change in mindset. People have learned that they must work to get out of poverty. 2, the people have learned that you can enhance what you are doing and be able to do what? To achieve. 3, people have known that if they gave Honorable Otto money and they've given Honorable Ofono Opondo, people have learned that, Lumumba now has learned, for me to get, these two must pay. So it has now awakened people in the communities to know that I have to follow up these people and remind them that you have to pay so that I also benefit.
Let's look at something.
Then also, by the question you asked is a very good one. That's why you see we have Mzee going to Elale to show that the PDM, for me, I thought people should look at cows, people should look at chicken, people should look. But when I was in Paris, I learned that there is this person who was also given money and decided to put the money into having turkeys. So it has kept also improving on also on our understanding. We as planners, we as the supervisors, we who are people doing the oversight, we thought of these certain enterprises, but the community had also in their mind different enterprises. So success has been registered. And that's why you see many people have even those who used not to believe so, especially people on the opposition. In the beginning, it want to work. They've realized it can work.
Yes,
and so when you say, how will this happen? Yes, we are saying there is the positive, there is the negative. But generally, under PDM, success has been registered. The only challenges now we have to take on
PDM.
The challenges now we have to take on in PDM is the issue of now, how about those communities which have very many people? Because the sizes of parishes differ.
We'll have a whole
because
show.
they have parishes where everybody has benefited,
on PDM.
but there are those where not even half have benefited.
We'll have a whole discussion on PDM. There are other issues. There are people bordering game reserves and national parks whose enterprises get vandalized by escaping animals. They need a different discussion. But let's focus on corruption. In the last term, you had huge scandals. The Mabat scandal exploded in the last term. 18 government officials, at the level including ministers, were named. Only one is serving after conviction. You had the president. That scandal around members of parliament negotiating for a budget of a department. Uganda Human Rights Commission the president, somehow, when you were in Chankwan's the other day, was talking about his daughter and how she explained herself to him and the matter, she's back in parliament. Cooperatives. The money for cooperatives was unearthed in the last parliament. And all those are forgotten stories already. Now we are picking up new stories of officials in local governments. Toilets, kitchens, and things like that. Can this really demonstrate that we can pick up and sustain a fight, or we are dealing with a systemic problem that is difficult to sever, to remove, as we're having this discussion? I don't want to leave it to you alone. I want your colleagues on the panel.
The community the community is also on the move. It is static. So that means also the challenges also keep changing. I want you to look at, that's why we have parliament, and that's why we have leaders. That when there is a challenge, you must find a solution. Let me give an example. I was giving the example of the guidelines for PDM. When a challenge is found, the guidelines change to be able to find a solution to that. When we are having thefts, we now had to take policemen up to the sub-county level so that the people who are working hard are not demoralized by having their animals stolen or their plants or their coffee. You see what used to have been in Masaka. So the same as we, and as corruption also, as community grows in everything, in every sphere, in every corner, corruption also changes in terms of the shape, the color, the whatnot. But now, we also, as government, as leaders also must change the approach to fight this device. Let me give you an example. We are now talking about IT. But when even you have a system, the very people who have put up the system, or if you have a system, you must also guard it. Because you will have people also breaking into the system to cause challenges. Then now,
maybe even further guidance. If I understood the question well, there are fellow ministers who have been named in corruption scandal. There are those who have even put iron sheets on top of their roofs, meant for people of Karamoja. You sit in cabinet with them. So the viewers want to know why you are chasing the chicken thieves. And yet your fellow ministers, whom we know they have stolen public funds, are comfortable in boardrooms. You are a minister for national guidance.
When I was here on this show the last time, Honorable Otto, you said Honorable Balam has gone for the chicken thieves. So they should now look at the central government. Today have come when you have already the sentence was talking about central government. URSB is under central government. Ministry of Works, the roads you are talking about, the Sega roads are central government. So government is responding. Government is very responsive to what the community raises.
Should I give you some of the names of the ministers who are involved in the iron sheet scandal?
But now look here, if people were taken to court and like the one you are talking of, that he had used the iron sheets to roof
the cow shed.
Yes, yeah. But he was taken to court. So what reasons do I have to challenge court? Unless you are going to advise me that court didn't do its work properly.
You know how that prosecution ended?
You should advise me.
No, it wasn't concluded in court. It is the prosecution that lost interest in that matter.
Actually, the state came and said they are not interested in pursuing the case of the minister who stole iron sheets. So why are you interested in pursuing people in Pakwach, in Kitagwenda, in Mbarara? Why? Why can the net catch everyone?
Honorable Masaba,
no, the net has to catch everybody, provided maybe but what that means that we should now revise and look at if it is the law and if it is judiciary, we should also hold them accountable.
The matter is about the selective application of
precisely
justice. Because as a member from Bugisu, the public always asks that same question. That why is it that Honorable Nandutu is in Luzira? Yet the list was very long. And as leaders,
the list was 18.
We failed to answer that. We failed, and I thought she was going to respond to it very well. But one of the challenges we are having is I know she might not answer, let me help her reply to that, is that the president perhaps is very lenient and is very soft, because when you look at, for example, there are many scandals that have been happening, and the Constitution, of course, gives the president powers under the prerogative of mercy, but that is after someone has been convicted. So it's unfortunate that the president is exercising the powers outside the Constitution, because there are very many people who have been pardoned. For example, this issue that has been happening at Bank of Uganda. And the president has come out and said, you reinstate these people, they are innocent. But the matter has not yet been concluded by the courts of law. I think we need to have a complete separation of power. Let the president wait for the matter to be investigated, and let the court declare whether these people are guilty or innocent. After they are convicted, then the president can come in and maybe pardon these people. So that is where we go wrong as a country. But when you look at what Honorable Balam is doing, we do appreciate. But how much do local governments get? Local governments are getting about 7 trillion shillings out of a budget of, I think, 84. The current budget we are running, they get less than 10%, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 11%.
About 10 or 11%. But there are votes, like Treasury Operation, Vote 130, that is managing debt of this country. That takes about 28 trillion shillings compared to the 7 trillion Balam is chasing. So what is happening?
No, actually, the 7 trillion, out of that about 7 trillion, slightly less than 7 trillion, 5 trillion of that is money that goes to recurrent expenditure.
Yes.
So he's not even investigating that.
It's not.
When we had a show last time here, we found that only about 760 billion is the one that is available for development expenditure.
Yeah. So in reality, most of the thieves are actually based here in Kampala. Most of these accounting officers have been in office for years.
It's a good reminder. BOU here, they were buying pens. Each pen at 800,000. Where has the story gone? You know, Bank of Uganda. You know that scandal.
You know, these corrupt people have accumulated a lot of wealth that they are feared by everyone. You might find our Honorable Minister here fears the corrupt, that they have access to the president. Yes, that's a bitter reality. Today, we were having an interaction with the Uganda police at Spark, and the assistant commissioner, they came out and told us that they are worried. There are people grabbing their land in Nakawa. They are grabbing their land in Kabalagala. They are grabbing their land all over the country. So if the police that is supposed to keep our property, that is supposed to keep us safe, is coming to the Public Accounts Committee, lamenting and crying that there are thieves who are trying to steal their land, and yet the same police has different directorates that are supposed to investigate and do all the due diligence and protect our work. So how will you convince me that the minister here is not scared of the corrupt? That to me, I'm not...
I don't... Well, there are people who are saying Balam and his colleague are doing it the wrong way. I disagree with them slightly, but for us in NRM and for the minister, I thought we should be able to say that Balam is doing some good work, but it needs to be backed by the law, and if the law is inadequate, we need to amend the laws. Have we identified 2 skills of people in government, particularly the ones who do auditing, supervision, investigations? 3, how do we persuade courts, the way we know them, for example, and the lawyers handling matters, that you think you are going to persuade a judge of the minds that we have, that Balam is doing the correct thing? To what end would the investigation material gathered by Balam's system be useful?
Be admissible as evidence in court.
Be useful, be useful to secure a guilty verdict. 4, I have not spoken to Balam. I have not spoken to the civil service. What he's doing, is it informing change of policy in the broader public service, so that we are able to say that probably in 2 or 3 years' time. So I thought that was what we are asking, whether that is sustainable and so on. But just the way he's doing, yes, it will scare people, the faint-hearted. But remember, when Justice Bamugemerere, you remember there was a minister who told her that he can report him to God. Now, supposing tomorrow you get a cow, an engineer who says, Badam, you can put me on a chain and they take me to a police station, the policeman will find nothing. Where are these audit reports? Yes, he can go with his meter, a ruler, tape measure, to measure the thickness of a road, to measure the width. Would any judge, would any state attorney sanction a charge because the minister has measured a road, the width of a road, and on that basis charges an engineer? I think that's not sustainable. And therefore, we need to reform the system itself.
Can the system be reformed?
Yes, it can be. We can be.
How?
There are institutions.
You call this systemic. You said the problem is systemic.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Like this?
Systemic. For example, those who appoint. What I was saying. From public perception. What does the public, that is not privy to the reasons, and the president did not ask anybody to explain the reasons he gave why a minister charged was seen weeping in court over Mabati is back in the cabinet. I thought from a political point of view, probably we should be able to explain that this person was investigated, was charged along the way for reason ABC. The evidence did not point to him. And that's the reason the case was dropped. I know the Constitution says the DPP does not need to give reason. But if you are in our kind of politics, where suspicion, ill intent is rife, how do you convince the public that you did it in utmost good faith? That this person did not.
Just on your point, if your intention is to send a signal,
yes,
that this is Kisanja no sleep,
yes,
this is Kisanja no corruption,
yes,
and you bring people who have been tainted by corruption, guilty or not, in a country of 45 million people, the question is going to be, was there a shortage of alternatives?
Yeah. So now you create cynicism that the senior government places is really a revolving door. Yeah. That's the cynicism. And if you see in public, the public may be wrong, but that's the cynicism. That's why Karim is saying, why is it only Nandutu?
Nandutu. 1 out of 18.
Cynicism. And I don't agree that because it's only Nandutu. If Nandutu was the one, the hard evidence pinned, let her be caught by that snare. I wouldn't want to plead that because he's the one. But the onus is on the people who run government to make the public understand, appreciate, know why this one and why not this one. And so, for me, that's where I am. I had said during break, members of parliament are members of their respective district councils. You ask these members of parliament, where are you when the districts are writing the budget? Where are you when they're doing work plan? Why should it take Madam or the president to discover a school? I am told that there is a school, a primary school or secondary school in Mitoma. I think the constituency of the deputy speaker, I need to check, where a ghost school has been in existence. Why should it take Madam to discover that? Where is the LC3 chairman who's actually NRM? Where is the GISO? Where is the DISO? That's why I'm calling it systemic. And systemic because, and they can be changed, as long as there is a will, first of all, to identify and put people away.
And you've seen, Honorable Odonga Otto, the number of anti-corruption agencies, statutory and ad hoc, has been growing every other time. And now, everybody seems to be chasing after what Balam is doing to find their own place in this.
And you had I want to take his words because he has been in the cabinet for as long as I remember. Honorable Chiro, 3 days ago, He said he was trying to make an alibi, an excuse. He said the Baramus and the Biamukama are doing it because they are not like other ministers. They can pick a call and reach Float 1, Uganda. Now, surely, what will happen to the other ministers who cannot pick a call and reach Float 1?
Whose call cannot go through the switchboard?
You see? Because this is what he was saying. Now, really, that can't be sustained.
You see?
Of course, they are making that excuse for their own malaise. If you ask, General Katumba Wamala has been there. How come that all these things happen? I said, you see, UNRWA had a board, but you, the Minister of Works, are you saying you have not been having review meetings
with the board of UNRWA?
Were you not hearing whispers which you can sniff? So I think there are people who are in the government and they are really comfortable. The NRM, in my view, we are in a comfort zone, and that's why it is just now that these things are beginning to bite us, when now people say, but you have taken 40 years. How come that, look at 21 kilometers of northern bypass, how long did it take us? How long?
2006?
Yes. And that was when UNRWA was there and so on. So, I think the NRM, in a sense, has been in a comfort zone. We need more pressure, but informed pressure, especially from within the NRM group.
Someone here called...
Because if it is opposition raising it, we shall say, those are opposition. They are bad-mannered, they are sulking, and so on. We need to have a critical mass within the NRM. And we must have leadership in NRM.
Can you master that critical mass?
That is willing to listen. The way I look at it, I have said this before on this show, we have a sizable number of people who must look over their shoulders. Even to say this is black, even when it is black. We have many people that, we have, that's why I said people have warmed their way into the NRM system. And if you have many of them, and they are now in a position of responsibility, it is unlikely that they will, you will achieve the things you are saying. Even these things the president is talking about, of no more sleep. All these things going on. Why is it as if it is accidental? We seem to be just stumbling. The system we have built over the last 40 years should be the one identifying and ejecting these people. How can it be? You saw the response of the Honorable Norbert Mao on a bureau, that bureau, Registration Services Bureau, that the president even has to convince a minister that the direction he's taking is the right one. How can you have ministers who are skeptical about the direction the president is taking?
Let's have Odonga Otto for briefly before we take a break. Semish, you have scandals that remained hanging every after 5 years. You don't pick them up. You pick up new ones. Can that system correct itself?
I think unless we change the mode of government, we will not succeed in this war on corruption. For how many years will Museveni live? For how many years will I live? For how many years will Balam live? We needed to plan this country in a sustainable manner for our children. And this is where government gets it wrong. As I was driving here, I was asking myself, at times I even thank God I'm not in that parliament. Because what does an ordinary person benefit from government? We needed a deliberate move to the left, where public services like hospitals, we have functional hospitals. Because the moment government hospitals are not functional, people are going to take bribes to sort out their personal problems. We need a functional educational system. Government schools must be more competitive. What happened to Sir Samuel Becker, Sir Tito Winyi, Kabalega College, in Tare? It is all in Tare which has survived because of the hobbies. Nabumali.
So, do you achieve that functionality by humiliating a head teacher of a school before they have gone through due process?
No. The point I am saying is, if government does not provide good health, good education, good public transport, good health care and medical insurance, anyone in public office is going to steal money. Because, like me, Otto, if I fall down here, who is going to come and help me?
No, but you know,
is there an ambulance which will come unless I call Opondo,
Honorable Otto,
you know?
The Balam effect is, you walk around. I was in Fort Porto on Tuesday, and I met some people who had come for the burial of that young man who died in that accident. And they're saying, Balam is finishing us. And we are scared. But the problem is they don't want to be lifted.
No. What Balam is doing, it's not questionable. But what is questionable, for example, why should a doctor working in a government hospital in Mulago pay water and electricity bills with their own salaries? The government should provide certain social services to make corruption less attractive. But the way Uganda is now, it is now for God and myself.
We need to take a break. Let me take a message from Peter Wamboga Mugiria in Imbale, who says, the Minister, Right Honorable Lumumba, seems to insinuate that if the discovery was by His Excellency the President or the Right Honorable Prime Minister, it makes the matter of theft of public resources any better, does it? Or admits that this is a systemic problem. Then Minister Balam and his State Minister go for the suspected fraudsters without instituting there a system that is foolproof. And those found culpable are removed, thrown behind bars, and a new system should be put in place. Then this is a mere change of guards. Let's take a break and pick this conversation up in a moment.
NBS Frontline.
Hey travelers, are you a family gearing up for that big vacation, a hustler working abroad coming home, or your squad chasing sunsets and passport stamps? It's time you lock in. Say goodbye to long airport queues, shocking roaming bills, and the stress of hunting for local SIM cards, because now you can travel like a local. Stay connected in over 180 countries. Just scan, tap, and boom! Instant data the moment you reach your destination. Get your Rogue Travel eSIM today at travel.roguetelecom.co.ug. Contact us on 020-500-123.
The majority of you have been taking the back seat when things happen to you, when men try to impose certain negative things in your life. That time has come to an end. Because you're here with me, you are in the right place at the right time to receive something that is going to work for you better and more than it has worked for you in time past.
Watch The Power of Prophecy with Prophet Elvis Mbonye this Saturday, 6:30 p.m. on NBS TV, Uganda.
In a digital world, not everything is what it seems. False stories today spread faster than truth, leaving us all wondering what's real. Disinformation misleads, misinformation misguides and spreads confusion and fear. Dismiss, a campaign to help you think critically, question wisely, and verify thoroughly. Join us. Let's build a more informed Uganda, one truth at a time. Dismiss, inquire, verify, confirm. Together, let's fight fake news. Billions are invested, promises are made, projects are launched. But what happens after the ribbon is cut? Are public fans delivering results? Are communities seeing the impact? Every Sunday, NBS Television follows the money, audits the promises, and examines the projects shaping Uganda with facts, evidence, and voices from the ground. Fixing Uganda, auditing progress, demanding accountability. Every Sunday, only on NBS Television.
Across Uganda, the parish development model is paving the way for prosperity helping families transform their lives through strategic farming practices, like the 4-acre model.
In our Chivaro of 1996, we said first acre, put coffee. Second acre, fruits. The third acre, you put pasture for dairy cows. The fourth acre, for food, cassava. The good thing is that now cassava is also becoming a very good cash product. But at least for food. Then, mind you, the backyard. You put poultry for eggs, you put piggery.
I'm in a 1-acre plot of land. In this 1 acre, Your Excellency, I practice this banana plantation. I also practice coffee. I also have dairy, Your Excellency. Every month, Your Excellency, I get 500,000 from these bunches.
The 7 activities we recommended, they have a big global demand.
We have 10,000 Nile tilapia fish and 10,000 African catfish. And when we sell our 10,000 tilapia, we get in one harvest 20 million shillings.
Fruits, especially capsule, which is cold, can do very high value crops like apples. And then finally, those who are near the wetlands, like the ones in Bukit who are wasting the wetlands, they should do fish farming, not in the center of the swamp, but at the edge of the swamp.
From coffee farms to fish ponds, the 4-acre model is empowering Ugandans to transform their lives. The parish development model is your pathway to wealth creation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Frontline.
You're still watching the Frontline on NBS TV. And James Salemi is watching us. He is an ardent follower of the show. He says Uganda's legal framework for fighting corruption is relatively strong, especially in this new Kisanja. But implementation of the laws is weak, especially for cases of grand corruption. That's James Alemi. Thank you, James. I saw Ainaman Jr. is watching. Yes, someone here says, yes. Mugisa Ronald is watching us from Fort Portal and says, the late speaker, Jacob Olanya, I remember reflecting, him confessing that all Ugandans are corrupt. He was including himself. And asked for everyone to repent and start a new chapter of fighting corruption. Unfortunately, he died before he had led the crusade of repentance. Let me see if I have another message here. Yes, someone says, this is Julius from Kingami in Bosoro Subcounty. He says, thanks for the program. Corruption in Uganda, it's difficult to eliminate. We are asking ourselves what next when Balaam leaves the area. People get pre-apprehended on camera. We have not seen anyone in court yet. But some people, I think, have appeared in court. He has handed over some people to the other investigating agencies. Fred Mwebembezi is watching us, says he's seriously following the show, and he says, I think Honorable Balaam is doing something good. But is he following the law? He can brag, direct, order, and do everything, but he should think about following rightful procedures. We have seen this. We have ever seen this, but at the end of the day, only to be left with cases that never get concluded. He says, after 40 years, I think the government needs to reflect more deeply about its fight against corruption. That's Fred Mwebembezi. Honorable Masaba.
Let me just give you, I wrote something back. And this way, yes, Balaam should expose. I think we need naming and shaming. Let us look at the last 3 commissions of inquiry, or 4. You remember the Justice 17 in the police? You remember
what happened? They shot bullets on the roof of a house?
No. Justice Ogola, Global Fund. You remember Gavi. You remember Catherine Bamgemere.
On
all those three, I think, to the best of my recollection, sections, parts of their reports were expunged by courts of law.
The entire Commission of Inquiry report into corruption in the Uganda Revenue Authority of Justice Julie Sebutinde was expunged.
Was expunged. Why? Because of the appearance of high-handedness, barking at people appearing and so on. And therefore, this should give us a lesson that while Balaam can have bravado, at the end of the day, these fellows are going to run to court out of all this. So if they could expand those four aspects of those inquiries, I don't see how much. And that should give us reflection that if we want, let us go and amend the civil service orders, whatever, which gives the minister power to direct the removal. If you want, we compensate you. Or we can live in the council and say, no, if we remove you on suspicion. Or the other one of the president where he says, I have dismissed you in public interest. But remember, even that one, the case of PSs, I am told, you remember there were 4 or 5 PSs who were removed by the president in public interest.
Yes.
I'm told they went back and somebody advised the president, said these people can go to court and their pensions were quietly. They were quietly settled. Now, you don't want to go through that. So, let's go back and look at the legal.
Thank you. Honorable Karim Masaba, you do not subscribe to the ruling party. You've been upstaged as members of the opposition. The fight that is supposed to be yours has been taken over.
They're now watching.
I think as...
You're chasing after.
No, me as an independent member, I do not subscribe to any party. I think I'm doing my work. We are doing our work in Parliament. But as Honorable Otto stated, that the audits we are looking at, first and foremost, there are very few. When you look at the Auditor General, because I've dealt with the Auditor General for the last 5 years, they have a scope of work of about 16,000 audits that they are supposed to do. But out of that, they have what they call the SORA.
How many? 16,000?
16,800 in the previous financial year we're looking at. Out of the 16,800, they have what they call the SORA, shared risk assessment, that they use to determine where they are going to audit. So they chose to audit 3,000 out of 16,000. So out of the 3,000 they chose to audit, they actually audited 2,500. And out of the 2,500 they audited, they only had unqualified opinion on 500. These are audits which they are sure of.
Qualified opinion on over 2,000 audits?
Yes. So out of 16,000, they have said we are going to carry out audits on 19% or 20% of whatever is happening in the country. And out of that, they are not able to do what exactly they had set their target to because of course of various reasons. And then the few they have done, still they are not sure of how true that is. And as a country, that is where we are going wrong because as I stated earlier on that the corrupt are everywhere. You will find that as Parliament, we are relying on a report that is completely clearing an accounting officer who was audited by a young man, a young auditor who went on foot on a border to go and audit someone moving in a V8. So how do you expect that this young man was not compromised? Because I've seen they have laid off about, I think they have interdicted about 20 young auditors because of corruption-related cases. So this also makes us doubt the audit reports that we're dealing with. There are audit reports we look at as Parliament, and we wonder how they were cleared by the Office of the Auditor General. Because there is a lot of mess that was happening. When you look at, for example, the dams in Karamoja, you will be surprised when you see what has been happening there. The loan that was passed by Parliament to carry out the solar irrigation, the first phase, a lot of money was taken, over 400 billion shillings. But you wonder how the Office of the Auditor General cleared this. When you look at the issues that the President is raising in his letters, I think these are matters that the Auditor General needs to stand and bring out clearly. But how many of these issues have come out through the audits by the Office of the Auditor General? So people come and blame Parliament, but we are being fed. We have what we call garbage in, garbage out. So at times, we are fed with garbage. And because we do not have the time, we do not go through all the audit reports. In the previous Parliament, I saw where we adopted omnibus, the Auditor General's reports, without scrutinizing them, because there were very, very many reports, and we had limited time.
There are many reports, they are thick reports.
They are thick reports.
They require heavy reading.
A lot of...
Honorable Masaba, would you also want to possibly examine how some of these people come into office? So would you wonder why they skip some of the audits?
Yes, when you look at many of these accounting officers, I think that is...
I don't think OO intended for you to answer that question. I think it was a bit rhetorical.
But the problem we have, before we go to the minister, is that everyone from up, the ministers, once they come into office, they want to get rich very fast. I know the minister who used to rent in Chengera in the last Parliament, and when he saw his name on the list of those who had been appointed, he had to look for a house right away in Nakasero, saying as a minister, he cannot sleep in Chengera anymore.
Change immediately.
Yes, he wanted to buy a house about $1.5 or $2 million in Nakasero. So where has the minister got the money in the short time they have been appointed in office? So that is where we are having a challenge, that we hear that some of the ministers tell the accounting officer, you have to be clear.
No, but Honorable Karim, there you are not being accurate, because you are the older member of Parliament, having come recently. I know just by having your name gazetted as elected, the banks can come running after you and they give you 2 billion.
But Honorable if he says a house of $2 million,
I think $2 million, that is about 7 billion.
7 billion. 7 billion. Is that money you can earn in
you have 5 years.
You can.
It's not possible.
You can do say, if you're a minister, you can do side gigs.
That is what I was talking about, where the minister now goes to the accounting officers and tell them, you have to give me this percentage.
Honorable Minister, you're having a lot of interdictions, a lot of public servants, especially at the local government level, working under a lot of fear now. What is the risk of causing paralysis in service delivery when the intention of this anti-corruption crusade is noble, to clean up the system and serve people better? What is the risk? Have you done an assessment as cabinet? Have you done an assessment from your docket as national guidance to say, if you have now interdicted close to 50 people, close to 100 people in local governments, you're moving towards paralysis on service delivery?
We've not done an assessment, but when people are first of all, for an interdiction to happen, it means that the system itself is working. That introspection is also good. But we've not done the analysis. But what I can add is that, let me give an example of URSB. The Minister for Justice came and explained to the country how they've had a meeting with the board to make sure the works that is meant to be done by URSB continues. Yes, the others give way, are interdicted, but again, there are people who are in office to continue working so that the people still continue receiving that service. That happens. Then when it happens to local governments, if it is a cow, the PS of Ministry of Local Government is supposed to do what? To find somebody to act, so that that district does not stop getting services that are meant to come from a cow. If it is to do with a school, the local government is supposed to work together with the Ministry of Education to find somebody to act. That's why you see, when you go to offices, we have, say, let me give an example. We have, if it is a school, we have a head teacher, we have a deputy head teacher, and if, depending on the size of the school, there is deputy head teacher 1, deputy head teacher 2, deputy head teacher 3, depending. So once the first in command goes, the next in command comes. But the issue of analysis is, we've not done it. And I think, but what I can also add is that we as the NRM government, we must also do this very carefully, such that there is yes intelligence, but there should also be counterintelligence. There should be monitoring, but there is what I can also call counter-monitoring. Or there should be supervision, and then there should also be counter-supervision, for reasons being that in such circumstances where Lumumba, in charge of ICT, is doing it the way she wants to do it, then Honorable Odonga, in charge of lands, is doing it the way he's doing it. There are people who may take advantage of the too many activities and make others become victims. So we must also guard against that, because sometimes if one is so good and is in an institution, others may now gang up against that person and say, since Lumumba, Minister of ICT, is coming and is going to post Uganda, we will all gang up and say our problem is Masaba. Our problem is Masaba. Masaba is the one who has been doing 1, 2, 3, 4. So I must also verify to really see, is it true that Masaba has been doing that? You may find Masaba may be the only killing person in that place, but the others gang up. And we must also guard that in some of these jobs where people are managing resources, so many people would want to have jobs where they manage resources. So all of those who are looking at that job, who want to have that office, may also gang up against that individual. And we should also be very careful about this, so that we do it and keep checking ourselves. Intelligence, counter-intelligence. Supervision, counter-supervision. So that people will not become
monitoring, counter-monitoring.
You can add on. But most importantly, the truth is we must fight corruption. We must fight corruption, because in some communities, in some places, it had become like a comfort. Comfort. And then also, community must also now also use this opportunity to learn to demand and also join in this fight. Let me give an example. I was as a woman, a member of parliament for Bugiri district, when we were still Bugiri Namayingo, the Prime Minister then was Right Honorable Apollo Sibambi. The PS was Mr. Pius Bigirimana. They were coming from somewhere, and then they were in a chopper. They got an accident in the compound of Bugiri Hospital. So they got bruises, and they had now to get special lights. I don't know the names of those lights. The hospital was supposed to have the special lights where the light is targeted on that place which is bruised, and then I think produces heat, and then you don't feel the pain.
Some kind of laser thing.
Yes, but those lights had been stolen by workers in the hospital. So because it was the Prime Minister and the PS and the PS of the office of the Prime Minister, when we arrived, because we were attending a function somewhere of Women's Day, when we went to the hospital, I was the woman MP, I was the woman MP, LC5 chairman, the late Hajiria Valasiraj and others. Then they were asking, where is this? The LC5 knew about them because he's a scientist. When he asked, where are these lights? Everybody started looking around. Within 10 minutes, there were supposed to be 4 lights. Already 3 had assembled. So means that we leaders must go and supervise. Once we go to supervise, we are able even to find solutions to those simple issues. We must go and supervise.
In relation to the Prime Minister Sibambi, when the helicopter
I think it landed on a tree. In the
Actually, that was even corruption. The helicopter ran out of fuel. I was a member of parliament there. So it literally fell from the sky. Because usually when these choppers fall down, they burn because of aviation fuel. So it ran out of fuel, and the pilot was really saying, I need to land here. So much as we are talking of the lights, which were lost in the hospital, the whole plane came down because someone stole
The fuel.
aviation fuel. But if I could just add something, I think we need to encourage balance. But I would want to propose to President Museveni, can we have a comprehensive property audit in the whole of Uganda? We need to count these houses one by one. Who does it belong to? If it is a company, the veil of the company should be lifted. In fact, that would be the best thing for any minister to do. We count Naguru, then we go to Kololo, then we go to Nigeria. That is when you'll find Honorable Otto. I've been an MP for 20 years. I have one property in Kampala. That's where I stay. You may find Opondo has 6 apartments. You may find the minister has 20 apartments.
I'm a son of a chief.
Yeah, it's okay. but the point...
Many of them do not put them in their names.
Yeah, it is immaterial. The moment we say a property audit, even if it is in the names of a company, we will lift the veil. That, again, would be able to help. Because the Way Bridge that was operated by UNRWA, you know what happens in the Way Bridges? You go and pay mobile money in advance from Kampala before your truck leaves. By the time the lorry reaches the Way Bridge, they adulterate the meters and give you lesser kilograms tonnage. A whole committee of parliament reported on that. Uganda Wildlife Authority. I'm glad they have introduced digital payment of park entry fees. There is a whole report that was chaired by Justice Kanyahamba. A big report like this of corruption.
But you remember only last year they interdicted the senior managers there?
Yes.
Yeah, URA. As of now, the corruption in URA. When I was teaching at Lira, Law Development Center Lira, there was a student waiting for me under a tree. He said 2 URA officials were having lunch. And the student was reporting to me that they were saying, this week they have made only 40 million. So they liaise, the one in Kamdini, the one in Malaba, the one in Mbale, they make fake declarations and then they collect the money from the exit point. So there are people who make up to 70 million a day. All this is corruption.
Our time, unfortunately, is out.
So just one thing, we need to increase the salaries of RDCs. RDCs should earn, I think, about 15 to 20 million like MPs. Because now the challenge, the RDCs are collecting money from the corrupt to subsidize their 1.7 million shillings.
But has the improvement of welfare to public workers resulted in less corruption or more corruption?
But now look at this situation before Opondo comes in. An RDC opens a workshop, he gets allowances and closes the workshop before it closes, so that he runs to the next workshop to open and close.
Gentlemen, I agree with you, and actually there is now a proposal to increase salaries of RDCs and other public servants. But let me just give you one incident. Last year, the government of Uganda increased the salary of scientists. Do you know what has happened? Many health workers, because of that money, they now go to the bank. I borrow money on salary loan, and I open my clinic. They are not in public facilities. They are running their own clinic.
Even RDCs,
you can go and check that.
In this current budget, there is
we need to have a full discussion on the welfare of the people who work in public service.
But my view is
the public sector.
We should actually scrap and reduce some of the
we need to have that discussion and correlate it with the fight against corruption. As we end, Geoffrey Walker Ayeni says, Honorable Minister Balam is doing commendable work in the fight against corruption. However, I'm yet to see any of the arrested district officials arraigned in court. This raises concern. Are Ugandans being misled under the gaze of fighting corruption? That's Ayemi. I have a message here from, who's this? Rwamuhumbu Joshua, who says, Ugandans, we need to join hands together to fight corruption, especially when Honorable Minister Balam is in charge of local government. Let's have bylaws being passed at every district to counter monitor what the minister was saying, the system, especially on civil servants. I have a message here from Bahati Fred. Bahati Fred, your message is quite long. I may not be able to take it all. He says, as the chairman of the Uganda NRM PLU Voluntary Standby Task Force, which traversed the entire country before and during campaigns, I want to tell you that what Honorable Otto and Ofono are saying is absolutely correct. We have a big problem in NRM of people who have amassed wealth and become very, very comfortable to the extent that they have a feeling like that of the Titanic maker who when he was asked that how did he think about the strength of the Titanic ship, and as he responded that even God cannot manage to break it. For example, after elections on the 15th of January, I sat down and wrote a field campaign report of 200 pages pointing out clearly 11 issues which we gathered from 101 districts, and they need to be addressed. These include, your message is too long, I can't pick all of it now, Bahati. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think we need to deal with that. Let me take Ken Mutenyo. Ken Mutenyo says, it took one Noah with one boat to save thousands from floods. It took one Mao to start the fixing of parliament. It has taken one Balaam to raise the red flag. Let the present public service laws be amended because they can't be used to fight corruption. My area MP, Industry Division, Mbale, please lead the way. Our time is out, we need to get out of here. Gentlemen and lady, Honorable Ofono Opondo, thank you very much for being on the show. The Honorable Odonga Otto, I'll give the Minister 30 seconds to make a concluding remark, but Honorable Masaba, thank you very much for being on the show. Honorable Minister, you're the only lady on the show, so you have the honor to close.
I want to thank the listeners and the viewers for giving us the opportunity, but what I want to say, fighting corruption is the responsibility of all of us. We are in leadership, in trustship. We are managing these resources on behalf of you Ugandans. So it's the responsibility. Government has decentralized leadership. There is what is supposed to be done by central government, what is supposed to be done by the districts, the local governments, the districts, the sub-counties, but now it has also come to the parish level and the village. But we have technology which can be used to fight corruption. We as the Ministry of ICT, the different systems that lie in government, we have so far registered 742 systems. This is in an effort of bringing all the systems together, be monitored by government to make sure we also use technology to fight corruption. Please, people in ministries, let's use systems, let's have paperless desks, let's use technology to be able to be more accountable, manage time, reduce on corruption, but also most importantly, fit in the current. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much to you all our viewers for joining us tonight and always. And tune in again next Thursday for yet another exciting discussion right here on The Frontline.